What's up everyone, it's Ruby here, bringing guys another video. Today we're talking about the latest episode of Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. Okay, this one's gonna be a little bit different to talk about, because this episode I kind of felt, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit different. And I think I know why, because to me this episode was very important to get right. So this episode was Gon buys us cheeseburgers. And while it's not necessarily a significant chapter, not necessarily a significant moment, it does have a moment that to me is one of the most important moments in the books. Because for the first time, we really see the relationship between Percy and Annabeth develop. And I mean not in a friendship way, I mean in a more romantic, serious way. And to me, I didn't necessarily like the change they did with the show. I mean, I think I know why. It did go in this direction. But I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. Okay? I'm not saying this is a bad episode. It isn't. But I think that after following the last episode and going through this one, it did feel weird, because we just had Percy sacrifice himself, and now again, right after that, he's sacrificing himself again, in a scene where he doesn't need to, which is weird. And now we have Hephaestus coming in and saying that he's gonna put in a good word because they're good kids, because Annabeth wouldn't leave Percy, and Percy, like, I did not like this change. To me, it feels weak, and it kind of screams to you how much of a budget that they don't have for this show, because they spent all that money on the Chimera. They have no money for mechanical spiders. To me, this episode is important because it establishes a couple of things. Okay? And we are going to get into book spoilers, so if you have not read the books, be warned, I will be talking about book spoilers, because I'm going to be comparing about what happens in that scene compared to what happens in this scene. And I think this is where I think it was a mistake to do. And I get why they did it, but I'm kind of disappointed that they did do it. Okay? And I don't know if I'm the only one who feels this way. I know there's some people that really love the show, and I still do as well. There's just some unexpected changes that I thought that they would maybe still kind of keep. Because, to me, these chapters are important not to show Percy's character, but to show Annabeth's character. And this is the chapter where you really kind of fall in love with Annabeth's character. Because she's not so perfect, and she's not so, like, infallible, I think is the word I'm looking for. Because up until this moment, it feels like Annabeth can do anything. Anything she sets her mind to. She can do anything. She can think and solve a puzzle, and I don't love what they did in this scene. I wish they had done it in a different way. And I was kind of waiting for that shoe to drop. What I was waiting for was the moment that Annabeth realized that Hephaestus's craftsmanship did have a flaw. I was hoping she would notice, oh, there's like this like cog that was not correct, or something to where she could prove that she really does know a lot more than people give her credit to. I also didn't love the execution of this scene in particular, because in the original book, in the books, the scene does not play out this way. They are blasted on live TV in front of all of the gods. And what comes out is a mechanical spider. And this is important because it shows Annabeth's biggest fear, and it also shows another opportunity of where the gods, and specifically Athena, went wrong. Because the story of Arachne is kind of interesting, but maybe it melds too close to what Medusa had said previously. But I think that's kind of the point, is that Athena was so jealous that Arachne dared challenge her to this weaving contest that she turned her into a spider, an ugly, 8-legged, hairy spider. That's the story of Arachne, basically. Most iterations, anyways. And from that point, Arachne hates Athena. Absolutely despises her. And sends the spiders after Athena's children, which is why Annabeth would be so afraid of spiders. And we get this interaction, and not only that, but we get this endearing moment between Percy and Annabeth that really shows why Percy and Annabeth is a strong relationship. Now, I understand what they were trying to do with this scene, okay? They probably didn't have enough budget for a mechanical spider, so they were like, okay, instead of that, let's do this. But I feel like I also understand what they were doing with Grover. I mean, they're trying to spotlight Grover a lot more, and trying to show like his scenes with Ares and stuff, and showing how he is more capable than he thinks. But the problem is that it interrupts the flow of the episode. You could have it to where it's like half and half, to where it's like this half is Percy and Annabeth's half, and this half is Grover's half. And we show what they were doing at the same time, but not interrupting each other. Because I think the problem with that is that it kind of got in the way of the pacing of the episode. And in this episode in particular, there's not a lot of time to do the chapters that they want to do. So they just kind of do it. It's like, I think they killed too much time with the whole first meeting Ares thing. Also because the way that it's done in the books of how they meet Ares, it's much more surprising and astonishing than this scene in the show. Because in this scene, he drives up in a bike, and they're hitchhiking, and they're hiding from him, and he reveals that he knows that they are on a mission, right? But in the books, they are actually already at the diner, and they're getting food, and they're realizing that they don't have enough money to pay for the food. And they're in this trouble, and not only that, but they realize that they are kind of in a tough situation where they're not making it to California in time. And that's when Ares comes into the diner and is like, I'm gonna help you, but you have to help me first. And I don't love the change that they made in this episode. I think because for me, these chapters are the most important for me personally in the books, because it's really what drew me into the series. Like, there's a few moments in the books where it's like, these are very pivotal moments to turning me into like a fan. This is the reason why I read it all in one sitting. Like, this is the reason why. And let me actually get the book 1 second, because I think I need it. One moment. Okay. So I have the book, right? The Lightning Thief. Let's go to the chapter, right? Let's break it down. Why do I find this, the way this episode was executed, why do I find it disappointing? Well, let's go to the actual chapter. Where is it? That's too far. Lotus Casino. We take a zebra to Vegas. I'm becoming a known fugitive. Okay. Okay. I think it's really here. Wait. God buys his cheeseburgers, $2.19. Okay. Should we just read the whole chapter? Maybe. Okay. Sure. Let's do it. The next afternoon, June 14th, 7 days before the solstice, our train rolled into Denver. We hadn't eaten since the night before in the dining car somewhere in Kansas. We hadn't taken a shower since Half-Blood Hill, and I was sure that was obvious. Let's try to contact Chiron, Annabeth said. I want to tell him about your talk with the river spirit. We can't use phones, right? I'm not talking about phones. We wandered through downtown for about half an hour, though I wasn't sure that what Annabeth was looking for. The air was dry and hot, which felt weird after the humidity of St. Louis. Everywhere we turned, the Rocky Mountains seemed to be staring at me, like a tidal wave about to crash into the city. Finally, we found an empty, do-it-yourself car wash. We veered towards the stall furthest from the... Oh, wait, that's what we skipped! Oh my god! Wait, I'm realizing the scene that we skipped. Why did we skip this? This is a very important moment. Oh my god, guys. Oh my god, okay. Realizing now, yeah, it's a good chapter to read. I mean, okay. So we skipped over probably a very important moment in the books and the show. Is because we learned through Luke, by IMing and the whole thing, that the camp is at war with each other. That's the whole thing, is that it's not just the gods, it's the actual camp. It's the demigods choosing sides, fighting each other, not able to, like, coexist anymore. That is a huge moment in the book that we just did not do. And I also don't know why we're not doing IMing. I think the thing is, with IMing, you do have to do a little bit of VFX. But I feel like you could do it in a way where it's like Goblet of Fire, where it's like, the fire face. Like, you could do something like that, where it's like, it's not like too much of a visual effects. It's really just a green screen, and you put a little rainbow, and then you put Luke or something. I'm not sure why we skipped over that, especially because Luke has a very important role in this show, especially in this book. Like, I don't know why we skipped over that. I also don't know why we haven't established that the demigods can't use phones. I don't know why we haven't established that. It's kind of weird because Percy did bring up, oh, like, why don't we just phone camp? That would be the perfect time to tell Percy, hey, Percy, we can't actually use cell phones because, well, it's basically like shooting a flare gun up in the air and saying, hey, monsters, come kill me. So I don't know why we haven't done that yet. I'm just real. We skipped. I can't forgive skipping the poodle scene because the poodle scene it like sidetracks from the from the like it sidetracks from everything. It's not really necessary. I mean, let's be honest. Poodle not really necessary. But this establishing that camp is at war with each other, that is kind of an important thing. I don't know why we glossed over that. But let's get back to the book. Okay. Let's get to that. I forgot about that. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's just skip over to where where he comes in. Okay? Okay. So they're at the diner, they're getting food, but they can't pay for it. And that's the thing. I was trying to think up a sob story for the waitress when a rumble shook the whole building. A motorcycle the size of a baby elephant had pulled up to the curb. All conversation in the diner stopped. The motorcycle's headlight glared red. Its gas tank had flames painted on it, and a shotgun holster riveted to either side. Complete with shotguns. The seat was leather, but leather that looked like, well, Caucasian human skin. The guy on the bike would have made pro wrestlers run from mama. He dressed in a red muscle shirt and black jeans, and a black leather duster with a hunting knife strapped to his thigh. He wore wraparound shades, and he had the cruelest, most brutal face I'd ever seen. Handsome, I guess, but wicked. With an oily black crew cut, and his cheeks that were scarred from many, many fights. Why does Ares not have any scars? And this is a very good question. They couldn't give him one scar on his face. Okay, the weird thing was, I felt like I'd seen his face somewhere before. As he walked into the diner, a hot, dry wind blew through the place. All the people rose as if they were hypnotized, but the biker waved his hand dismissively, and they all sat down again. Everybody went back to their conversations. The waitress blinked as if somebody had just pressed the rewind button on her brain. She asked us again, you kids have money to pay for it? The biker said, it's on me. He slid into our booth, which was way too small for him, and crowded Annabeth against the window. He looked up at the waitress, who was gaping at him, and said, are you still here? He pointed at her, and she stiffened. She turned as if she'd been spun around, then marched back towards the kitchen. The biker looked at me. I couldn't see his eyes behind the red shades, but bad feelings started boiling in my stomach. Anger, resentment, bitterness. I wanted to hit a wall. I wanted to pick a fight with somebody. Who did this guy think he was? He gave me a wicked grin. So, you're old seaweeds kid, huh? I should have been surprised or scared, but instead I felt like I was looking at my stepdad Gabe. I wanted to rip this guy's head off. What is it to you? Annabeth's eyes flashed me a warning. Percy, this is... The biker raised his hand. It's okay, he said. I don't mind a little attitude. Long as you remember who's the boss. You know who I am, little cousin. Then it struck me why this guy looks familiar. He had the same vicious sneer as some of the kids at Camp Half-Blood. The one from Cabin 5. You're Clarice's dad, I said. Ares, god of war. Ares grinned and looked off his side, took off his shades, Where his eyes should have been, there were only fire empty sockets glowing with miniature nuclear explosions. That's right, punk. I heard you broke Clarice's spear. She was asking for it. Probably. That's cool. I don't fight my kids' fights, you know. What I'm here for. I heard you were in town. I got a little proposition for you. I'm gonna skip through it and blah blah blah. Okay, let's actually skip through to the moment, yeah, I think get it, but let's actually skip to why I don't like the way that they did this scene in the show. Let's skip to, here it is. Yes, the actual moment in the show. Okay, here we go. First of all, I don't know, well, okay. Okay. The sun was sinking behind the mountains by the time we found the water park. Judging from the sign, it once had been called Waterland. But now some of the letters were smashed out, so it read Waterrad 80. Waterrad. The main gate was padlocked and topped with barbed wire. Inside, huge dry water slides and tubes and pipes curled everywhere, leading to empty pools. Old tickets and advertisements fluttered from the tarmac. With night coming, this place looked sad and creepy. If Ares brings his girlfriend here for a date, I said, staring at the barbed wire, I'd hate to see what she looks like. Percy, Annabeth warned, be more respectful. Why? I thought you hated Ares. He's still a god, and his girlfriend is very temperamental. You don't want to insult her looks, Grover added. Who is she? Echidna? No, Aphrodite, Grover said, a little dreamily. Goddess of love. I thought she was married to somebody, I said. Hephaestus. What's your point? Oh. I suddenly felt the need to change the subject. So how do we get in? Maya! Grover's shoes sprouted wings. He flew over the fence, did an unintended somersault in midair, then stumbled to a landing on the opposite side. He dusted off his jeans as if he planned the whole thing. You guys coming? Annabeth and I had to climb the old-fashioned way, holding down the barbed wire for each other as we crawled over the top. The shadows grew long as we walked through the park, checking out the attractions. There was Ankle Biter Island, Head Over Wedgie, and Dude, where's my swimsuit? No monsters came to get us. Nothing made the slightest noise. We found a souvenir shop that had been left open. Merchandise still lined with the shelves, snow globes, pencils, postcards, and racks of clothes, Annabeth said. Fresh clothes. Yeah, I said, but you can't just watch me. She snatched the entire row of stuff off the racks and disappeared into the changing room. A few minutes later, she came out in a Waterland flower print shorts, a big red Waterland t-shirt, and commemorative Waterland surf shoes. A Waterland backpack was slung over her shoulders, obviously stuffed with more goodies. What the heck, Grover said. Soon, all three of us were decked out like walking advertisements for the defunct theme park. We continued searching for the tunnel of love. I got the feeling that the whole park was holding its breath. So Aries and Aphrodite, I said. To keep my mind off the growing, they have a thing going. That's old gossip, Percy, Annabeth told me. 3,000-year-old gossip. What about Aphrodite's husband? Well, she said. Hephaestus, the blacksmith, he was crippled when he was a baby, thrown off the Mount Olympus by Zeus. So he isn't exactly handsome. Clever with his hands and all, but Aphrodite isn't into brains and talents, She likes bikers. Whatever. Hephaestus knows? Oh, sure, Annabeth said. He caught them together once. I mean, literally caught them together in a golden net and invited all the gods to come and laugh at them. Hephaestus is always trying to embarrass them. That's why they meet in the out of the way places like. She stopped, looking straight ahead. Like that. In front of us was an empty pool that would have been awesome for skateboarding. It was at least 50 meters across and shaped like a bowl. Around the rim, a dozen bronze statues of Cupid stood guard with wings spread and bows ready to fire. On the opposite side from us, a tunnel opened up, probably where the water flowed into the pool was full. When the pool is full. The sign above it read, "Thrill Ride of Love. This is not your parents' tunnel of love." Grover crept toward the edge. Guys, look! Marooned at the bottom of the pool was a pink and white two-seater boat with a canopy over the top and little hearts painted all over it. In the left seat, glinted in the fading light, was Ares' shield, a polished circle of bronze. This is too easy, I said. So we just walk down there and get it? Annabeth ran her fingers along the base of the nearest Cupid statue. There's Greek letter carved here, she said. Etta. I wonder. Grover, I said, you smell any monsters? He sniffed the wind. Nothing. Nothing like in the Ark, and you didn't smell the kid on nothing, or really nothing. Grover looked hurt. I told you that was underground. Okay, I'm sorry. I took a deep breath. I'm going down there. I'll go with you. Grover didn't sound too enthusiastic, but I got the feeling he was trying to make up for what happened in St. Louis. No, I told him. I want you to stay up top with the flying shoes. You're the Red Baron, remember? I'll be counting on you for backup in case something goes wrong. Grover puffed up his chest a little. Sure, but what could go wrong? I don't know, just a feeling. Annabeth, come with me. Are you kidding? She looked at me as if I just dropped from the moon. Her cheeks were bright red. What's the problem now? I demanded. Me? Go with you? To the thrill ride of love? How embarrassing is that? What if somebody saw me? Who's going to see you? But my face is burning now. To leave it to a girl to make everything complicated. Fine, I told her. I'll do it myself. But when I started down the side of the pool, she followed me, muttering something about boys always mess things up. We reached the boat. The shield was propped on one seat, and next to it was a lady's silk scarf. I tried to imagine Ares and Aphrodite here, a couple of gauze meeting in a junked out amusement park ride. Why? Then I noticed something I hadn't seen from up top. Mirrors all around the rim of the pool facing the spot. We could see ourselves no matter which direction we looked. That must be it. While Ares and Aphrodite were smooching with each other, they'd look at their favorite people, themselves. I picked up the scarf. It shimmered pink, and the perfume was indescribable. Rose or mountain laurel, something good. I smiled a little dreamy, and was about to rub the scarf against my cheek when Annabeth ripped it out of my hand and stuffed it into her pocket. Oh, no, you don't. Stay away from that love magic. What? Just get the shield, seaweed brain, and let's get out of here. The moment I touched the shield, I knew we were in trouble. My hand broke through something that had been connecting it to the dashboard. A cobweb, I thought. But then I looked at a strand of it on my palm and saw it was some kind of metal filament, so fine it was almost invisible. A tripwire. Wait, Annabeth said. Too late. There's another Greek letter on the side of the boat. Another Edda. This is a trap. Noise erupted all around us, of a million gears grinding, as if the whole pool were turned into one giant machine. Grover yelled, "Guys!" Up on the rim, the Cupid statues were drawing their bows into firing positions. Before I could suggest taking cover, they shot, but not at us. They fired at each other. Across the rim of the pool, silky cables trailed from the arrows, arcing over the pool and anchoring where they landed to form a huge golden asterisk. Then smaller metallic threads started weaving together magically between the main strands, making a net. "We have to get out," I said. "Duh," Annabeth said. I grabbed the shield and we ran. But going up the slope of the pool was not as easy as going down. "Come on," Grover shouted. He was trying to hold open a section of the net for us, but wherever he touched, the gold thread started to wrap around his hands. The Cupid's hands popped open. Out came video cameras. Spotlights rose up all around the pool, blinding us with illumination, and a loudspeaker boomed, "Live to Olympus in 1 minute, 59 seconds, 58. Hephaestus!" Annabeth screamed, "I'm so stupid. Edda is H. He made this trap to catch his wife with Ares. Now we're going to be broadcast live to Olympus and look like absolute fools." We'd almost made it to the rim when the rows of mirrors opened like hatches and thousands of tiny metallic things poured out. Annabeth screamed. It was an army of winged, creepy crawlies, bronze gear bodies, spindly legs like pincers, mouths all scuttling toward us in a wave of clacking, whirring metal. "Spiders!" Annabeth said. Ah! I'd never seen her like this before. She fell backwards in terror and almost got overwhelmed by spider robots before I pulled her up and dragged her back toward the pool, towards the boat. The things were coming out from all around the rim now, millions of them, flooding towards the center of the pool, completely surrounding us. I told myself they probably weren't programmed to kill, just corral us and bite us and make us look stupid. Then again, this was a trap meant for gods, and we weren't gods. Annabeth and I climbed into the boat. I started kicking away the spiders as they swarmed aboard. I yelled at Annabeth to help me, but she was too paralyzed to do much more than scream. 3029, called the loudspeaker. The spiders started spinning out strands of metal thread, trying to tie us down. The strands were easy enough to break at first. But there were so many of them, and the spiders just kept coming. I kicked one away from Annabeth's leg, and his pincers took a chunk out of my new surf shoe. Grover hovered above the pool in his flying trainers, trying to pull the net loose, but it wouldn't budge. Think, I told myself, think. The tunnel of love entrance was under the net. We could use it as an exit, except that it was blocked by a million robot spiders. 15, 14. The loudspeakers called. Water, I thought. Where does the ride's water come from? Then I saw them. Huge water pipes behind the mirrors, where the spiders had come from, and up above the net, next to the one of the cupids, a glass-windowed booth that must be the controller station. Grover, I yelled, get into that booth. Find the on switch. But do it. It was a crazy hope, but it was our only chance. The spiders were all over the prow of the boat now. Annabeth was screaming her head off. I had to get us out of there. Grover was in the controller's booth, now slamming away at the buttons. 5, 4. Grover looked up at me hopelessly, raising his hands. He was letting me know that he pushed every button, but still nothing was happening. I closed my eyes and thought about waves, rushing water, the Mississippi River. I felt a familiar tug in my gut. I tried to imagine that I was dragging the ocean all the way to Denver. 2, 1, 0! Water exploded out of the pipes. It roared into the pool, sweeping away the spiders. I pulled Annabeth into the seat next to me and fastened her seatbelt just as a tidal wave slammed into our boat, over the top, whisking the spiders away and dousing us completely, but not capsizing us. The boat turned and lifted in the flood and spun in circles around the whirlpool. The water was full of short-circuiting spiders, some of them smashing against the pool's concrete wall with such force they burst. Spotlights glared down at us. The Cupid cams were rolling live to Olympus. But I could only concentrate on controlling the boat. I willed it to ride the current, to keep away from the wall, Maybe it was my imagination, but the boat seemed to respond. At least it didn't break into a million pieces. We spun around one last time, the water level almost high enough to shred us against the metal net. Then the boat's nose turned towards the tunnel, and we rocketed through in the darkness. Annabeth and I held tight, both of us screaming as the boat shot curls and hugged corners and took 45-degree plunges past pictures of Romeo and Juliet and a bunch of other Valentine's Day stuff. Then we were out of the tunnel, the night air whistling through our hair as the boat barreled straight towards the exit. If the ride had been in working order, we would have sailed off a ramp between the golden gates of love and splashed down safely into the exit pool. But there was a problem. The gates of love were chained. 2 boats that had been washed out of the tunnel before us were now piled against the barricade, one submerged and the other cracked in half. "Unfasten your seatbelt," I yelled to Annabeth. "Are you crazy? Unless you want to get smashed to death." I strapped Ares' shield to my arm. "We're going to have to jump for it." My idea was simple and insane. As the boat struck, we would use its force like a springboard to jump the gate. I'd heard of people surviving car crashes that way, getting thrown 10 or 15 meters away from an accident. Luck, we would land in the pool. Annabeth seemed to understand. She gripped my hand as the gates got closer. "When I say go," I said. "No, when I say go." "What?" "Simple physics," she yelled. "Force times the trajectory angle." "Fine, when you say go." She hesitated, then yelled, "Now!" Crack! Annabeth was right. If we had jumped when I thought we would have crashed in the gates. She got us to maximum lift. Unfortunately, there was a little more than we needed. Our boat smashed into the pileup, and we were thrown into the air, straight over the gates, over the pool, and down towards the solid tarmac. Something grabbed me from behind. Annabeth yelled, "Ouch!" In midair, he grabbed me by the shirt and Annabeth by the arm, and was trying to pull us out of his crash landing, but Annabeth and I had all the momentum. "You're too heavy, Grover," he said. "We're going down." We spiraled towards the ground, Grover doing his best to slow the fall. We smashed into the photo board, Grover's head going straight into the hole where tourists would put their faces, pretending to be Nunu the friendly whale. Annabeth and I tumbled to the ground, banged up alive. Ares' shield was still on my arm. Once we caught our breath, Annabeth and I got Grover out of the photo board and thanked him for saving our lives. I looked back at the thrill ride of love. The water was subsiding. Our boat had been smashed to pieces against the gates. 100 meters away at the entrance pool, the Cubans were still filming. The statues had swiveled so that their cameras were trained straight on us, the spotlights in our faces. "Show's over," I yelled. "Thank you. Good night." The Cupids turned back to their original positions. The lights shut off. The park went quiet and dark again, except for the gentle trickle of water into the thrill ride of love's exit pool. I wondered if Olympus had gone to a commercial break, or if our ratings had been any good. I hated being teased. I hated being tricked. And I had plenty of experience handling bullies who liked to do that stuff to me. I hefted the shield on my arm and I turned to my friends. We need to have a little talk with Ares. Okay, so that was a lot. And I can see why it would be hard to implement that scene. Okay. And I can understand that they are approaching this show in a little bit more of a realistic way than the fantasy book. Okay, there's a lot that is changing and they're modernizing it as well. But I think the problem really is for me that the scenes that I find really important because they serve a pivotal purpose, they're cutting out of the show, or they're changing so much where you don't really recognize it. I mean, you recognize like the bits and pieces of it. At least it's there, but it's not really there. I mean, I feel like a lot of what they're trying to do, what needs to be done, should have been put into an animated series. And the reason why I say this is because real life limits you in a way that cannot be done. Like, there are moments in this book that if you were trying to replicate in real life, it would cost you a lot of money to make it happen. And that scene that I just read probably would have cost a little bit of money. However, if you did an animation, if you did an animated like cartoon, like She-Ra, or like Sailor Moon or something, like did something like that, like Avatar, and you put it in an animated style, you could not only make the characters look however you wanted, but you could also actually create the scenes that are described in this book. Now, I'm not saying you have to go scene by scene, make it look perfect. There are some changes that I would make to this book, but they would be very, very small changes. I understand wanting to characterize Annabeth more, wanting to really flesh out these characters, but I feel like that's not what the series is doing right now. And I kind of have a hard time seeing them kind of growing into the last Olympian. Because you can get away with all the changes that they're making in this book. But there's a lot of moments, like in the Titan's Curse, or even in the last Olympian, that are absolutely integral in telling this story and doing it right by the fans. And to me, I don't think they're gonna get there. I think there's gonna be moments that are changed, and I don't know how I feel about that. I hope that they keep most of the important moments. Like, spoiler alert, again, I'm talking about book spoilers, okay? I really hope that they keep the Selena thing in. Okay? If you know what it is, you know what it is, okay? You know what I'm talking about. I have a concern that maybe they won't include Selena's portrayal. Because it is a tough scene to watch. And it's a tough scene to execute, especially in a PG rating. And that's why I'm a little bit hesitant as to where the show will go and how the show will handle those more mature moments. Because we've seen so far that their solution to handling those mature moments is to either not include them or to visually change them so that they don't happen in the way that they do. And there's a lot, especially in the Titan's Curse as well. The Titan's Curse is probably one of the more mature books in terms of, like, this is very much like a kid's book, okay? Not a kid's book, but more like a young teen book, okay? Like, this is very much targeted to, like, the 10 and 11-year-olds that are reading it for the first time. And there are some heavy scenes in it, especially in Titan's Curse, where we see a lot of hardship that Annabeth has to go through, that Artemis has to go through. Like, there's a lot of moments that are very hard to depict in a PG rating of the show. And I'm a little bit concerned about how they're going to execute it when they actually get to those moments. I'm starting to think that maybe they will just not include it, which I think would be a huge mistake if that is actually the case. I'm hoping that they still keep the semblance of these books, because I know that they're a lot, but they deserve to be told because they're so important, and they're so good for a very specific reason. And I know that Rick is like approving everything, but let's be honest. He has restrictions. There are some things that he can't do because it's a PG rating, because it's a Disney show. There's reasons why certain things are being cut out. And I'm not saying that Max would do it better, but I know Max doesn't really have the same restrictions. I mean, you look at Young Justice, right? Look at Young Justice and what they were able to do with Young Justice season, like those seasons, season 3 and 4. I kind of think that making it a Disney show, and I know it's a Disney show because, well, it's a Disney published book, okay? They have the Disney Plus, it makes sense as to why they would do it. But I kind of regret that they are doing it, because I think there's going to be moments in the books that will not make the light of day in the show. And I'm a little bit concerned about that. I'm still liking the show, don't get me wrong. I'm wondering how we wrap this up, because we do only have a few more a few more episodes before it's done. It's gone. Okay? And that's that. No more Lightning Thief. We're on to the Sea of Monsters. And I know that in my head, I thought the episodes were going to be longer. The episodes are really like 30 to 36 minutes, maybe. I thought that the show, each episode was going to be an hour. So we would have like an 8-hour long show, which is a good chunk to tell a book, because it's basically like an 8-hour long movie, right? You're basically taking the movies, but you're doing it in 8 episodes, so it's going to be longer. But that's not the case, and I think that's the problem, because the pacing of the show doesn't allow them to fully flesh out some of the scenes that they're doing. And it feels more like they're checking a box than actually adapting the scene. And it's like, oh, we have Echidna, we have Medusa, we have, like, now we have Ares, like, we did that. But did they really? There is a moment in this book before they leave to Las Vegas. Percy confronts the Ares and the god of war. And it does happen a little bit at the end of the episode, but not nearly as much as, like, it's clear that Percy's gonna throw hands with this Ares guy, especially after he learns that he took the bolt. Like, I'm just a little bit concerned. I like that it's more accurate to the books than the movie, because it definitely is. I mean, we definitely at least have the scenes there. But I'm worried about the execution and how they're going to handle it. I want to trust in Rick that he will tell his story in its true and honest form. But I'm afraid that he's not going to be able to do it because of the restrictions. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments. Am I, like, overthinking it? Am I out of pocket for even thinking about this? But let me know down in the comments what you think. I mean, I know personally, I kind of would have preferred this to be an animated show, so that they could do the scenes that are kind of impossible to do. But I don't hate that it's a live action. I just kind of wish that I think they could have done a lot of these scenes better if it was animated. I'm not gonna lie. But that's me. I also think that with an animated show, you can sometimes get away with having like more episodes because you do the scenes that are important, but you would have like you would still have like 20 episodes or like something. Like you could do like an episode each chapter because because like we would have 20 episodes. I think we should have 20 episodes because I don't think 8 is enough to do what they're trying to do. And I kind of hope that they either have longer seasons or longer episodes, so that they can tell the Sea of Monsters, so that they can tell the Titan's Curse. If they don't have either more runtime or something, Titan's Curse is gonna feel very abridged, and I'm kind of concerned about that. I really am. So here's hoping that it gets better. Thank you guys for watching. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. If you're gonna comment spoilers, please put them under like a spoiler warning or something, just in case someone hasn't watched the show. I mean, hasn't read the books. Comment down your thoughts, and I will be doing more videos about Percy Jackson, not just about the episodes, but also talking about like the scenes that I actually want in like Sea of Monsters and stuff like that. If we're gonna go in the direction, continue going in the direction that we're going, and talking about like animation versus live action and stuff like that. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the future, and peace out, guys. It's been a blast. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.